Meeting to order. And I'll ask Trustee Gonzalez Yuan to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
That's fine. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next time.
Okay, we'll move to roll call.
Student trustee Parmigiani.
Here.
Student trustee Byrne.
Here.
Trustee Withrow. Trustee Johannes.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan. Trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Here.
Trustee Quinlan.
Here.
Trustee Delphine Polk. Here. You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. So we'll move to item 1.4, approval of the agenda.
Move to-
approval.
Move approval.
Oh, sorry, yeah, did somebody second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay,
Student trustee Parmigiani.
Yes.
Student trustee Byrne.
Yes.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Johannes.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Yuan.
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito.
yes,
Motion passes.
okay, thank you. So we're going to move to 1.5, public communications matters that are not on the agenda, but I just wanted to say it's really exciting to be here today. So thank you all for coming out to join us at our board meeting. So thank you. All right.
First, we have Lee Peavy.
All righty. Good evening. I am Lee Peavy. I'm the alternate media technology specialist here at Merritt. And I will admit, I ain't no spring chicken anymore. I want to talk to you tonight about our ongoing situation with no elevator in the R building. Now, I myself had a heart attack back in November of 2021. So I'm not that steady on my feet anymore. So going downstairs is a little nerve-wracking for me. But let's don't talk about me. Let's talk about we have folks who are older than me, who are elderly, who use walkers, who use canes, who use wheelchairs, that are having difficulty getting into this building, especially getting into student services. I've heard horror stories about women trying to get up flights of stairs with infants in strollers. I've heard where, people have been trying to carry their loved ones who have been in wheelchairs upstairs. This has been off and on over the years that I've heard this. And so I have concerns that somebody at some point in time is going to file an ADA lawsuit against not only Merritt, but Peralta District because of the fact that we don't have a working elevator. And this needs to be, in my opinion, prioritized as far as us having a working elevator so that folks are able to get from point A to point B flawlessly. So I just wanted to bring that concern to you all. I know that, we've been going back and forth with the facilities committee in the district. And also the Health and Safety Committee, which I'm an alternate co-chair on, as far as when are the elevators going to be working, when, are things going to be restored. We don't have an ETA on things. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Brock Drazen.
All right, yeah, that's one else. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor, Presidents, and community. We are very, very happy that you could come up to Merritt College today. Thank you, thank you. We have some student athletes representing women's soccer, women's basketball, men's soccer, and track and field, cross country. We were very happy that you were able to get around campus on your tour earlier and visit the gym and come up to the stadium and see some of our student athletes out on campus. And we're just really glad to have the opportunity to so that you could see our students in the flesh, not just on paper. But on paper, I will note that this fall we've had our highest census in the last 4 years, our highest productivity in the last 4 years. And I don't know if I want to wake the bear at Laney, but we did beat you guys in fall productivity, just athletically. No, I don't know. But it's friendly competition always. I worked in downtown Oakland for over a decade as an attorney in the courts, representing people who were accused of crimes, juveniles removed for abuse or neglect, accused of crimes, formerly incarcerated, currently incarcerated, people who did not want to be incarcerated. And when I found Merritt College, this jewel on the hill, it really changed my life. And I've seen over the 2 decades that I've worked here now is how much the lives of our students have changed by having the opportunity to be here in a safe and nurturing environment in Oakland. And I don't think people realize enough that what Merritt does in our community of Oakland. Oakland has this stereotype, and then you took this tour around here. It's an amazing campus. We're built right into nature up here. And I've lucky enough to see over the last 20 years, so many of our students move on, graduate, transfer. And now the older students that I had way back when have families, houses, cars. They're just living the American dream, I guess we say. Always, we want our students, and I know parents want their kids to do better than they did. And that's what I think we're achieving here at Merritt. And I looked at my wall today and I have this picture. It's track and field picture from 2022. And it's 19 kids who went to our state championship in SoCal. And we visited Venice Beach. And then I looked at these kids and it's 18 out of 19 achieved AA degrees, 17 out of 19 transferred to four-year schools. And because of the resiliency of our students, I keep the file of the one student who didn't graduate. I just keep it and I try to stay in touch. And I know, in my heart, I'm always expecting that student to come back and finish. And that's what I think is great about Peralta students, is that the resiliency of our student population to come here, to do the sport they love, to do the academic rigor, to graduate and transfer, and also to live in the community, as tough as it is. They're working, they're taking care of family, and they're doing their level best to be successful in every aspect of life. So we appreciate you giving us the opportunity to serve these students. And we've been back since September 2020. I've got to thank the board and for allowing us to come back. We've been on campus. We want everybody back on campus. We would love to have more in-person classes. And I think our students really appreciate the opportunity to be seen and heard here today, at least through me. I don't think anybody's speaking, but I think they speak just by being here and showing that the love and power of the community of our athletic program. So thank you very much.
Okay, that concludes our public communication on matters that are not on the agenda. And now we get to the really I'm excited about this next part. So 1.6, Merritt College presentation to the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, President Gonzalez Brito. Good evening, trustees, community. It's such a pleasure for us to be here today. And first of all, I want to thank the board. Really, thank you for your leadership. Because you had a vision to create a new board calendar that allowed the opportunity for you as the trustees and the governing board to be here in the community and visiting our incredible colleges and seeing firsthand the students. First of all, thank you to our students who came out, but to the faculty, classified professionals, and our incredible administrative team. And Merritt College is our first to kick off the 2024-25 academic year. And I want to start first to say, when we have a vision like this, right, it's no small feat to set up the space, to get it all ready, to do these things. And for the public, so that you know, earlier today, we had the opportunity to take the trustees that were available on a campus tour. And I really want to, first of all, thank you'll hear tonight from Professor Bianca Perazzo from the COSER program, who invited us into space with the students. I want to thank again Brock, who you saw here, who just sort of shows all heart every time he speaks about Merritt College and our student athletes. But we got the opportunity to meet Romero Rodriguez, our soccer coach, Derek Jones, the men's basketball coach, and had the opportunity to preview what's been going on behalf of the voters, which is incredible investment in the infrastructure here at the college, with the raising from the ground, the new landscape horticulture program that's hopefully open in the fall of next year. Chris Grant, so grateful to Professor Grant for coming and giving us a preview of that space, as well as, again, getting to see the early childhood development building that is coming and rising from the ground. So we're excited to see that as well. And we had an opportunity to visit the Natural History and Sustainability program, seeing students on the ground, seeing what's being just planted, right? Is an exciting part. I want to thank Elizabeth Vogel for this. You know, it's no small feat. Before I start and turn it over, I want to thank Marie Amboy, Tara Marrero, Berenice Herrera, David Pounds, Alejandra Sereda, Shaka Garrett, Michael Mears, and Maria Perez, the Merritt College team here, for their vision and support in having this done. And I also want to thank the crew behind the scenes, again, our marketing and public relations crew for assisting here at Merritt, Joe Sullivan, Angel Hunter, Bendy Almiz, Ceci Vasquez, Marcus Creel, and Faiza Ali, who've been helping with the sound and the videos and the pictures, and certainly the team in the Chancellor's office. So thank you again to Shasha Amiri, board clerk, and to Tashetta Henry for their support. I'm with you, President Gonzalez Brito. It feels like my job to do all the thanks, but we're going to get an awesome opportunity to really get a small snippet and highlight of the incredible work that's going on here at Merritt College. And I'm very proud to introduce and thank President Dr. David M. Johnson for inviting us to the Merritt College campus and the GEM, which is in Oakland. So I turn it over to you, President Johnson. Thank you for having us.
Good evening, everybody. Wow, there's too many people in the room to be like that. Good evening, everybody. All right. Chancellor Gilkerson, President Gonzalez Brito, Board of Trustees, our classified professional staff, faculty, students, members of the community. Welcome to Merritt College. I want to formally begin by talking a little bit about Merritt College, a place I love. It's an institution that has been a cornerstone of the Oakland community for more than 6 decades. Although if you want to take it back to when we were the Merritt School of Business in 1929, we're coming up on a century. For the board, I hope that you not only enjoyed the campus tour, which the Chancellor mentioned, included the landscape, horticulture, and child development sites, as well as the street scholars space, but also as you turn your attention to the beautiful vistas that Merritt College has. Merritt is a community jewel, and we are keenly focused on spreading the word near and far about this amazing institution that may be located on the hill, but certainly belongs to everyone. I would be remiss if I did not take the opportunity to underscore our mission here at Merritt College. At Merritt College, we put students first, and our vision is to remain a preeminent institution of learning, training, and community engagement. Galvanizing the vibrant energy of our students, faculty, staff is at the heart of everything we do here. And we see ourselves as a place of transformation where people from all walks of life come to discover new opportunities, develop skills, and pursue their dreams. Our programs are as diverse as our students, who reflect the rich cultural and social diversity of my hometown of Oakland, California. From our nursing program to our innovative cybersecurity curriculum, Merritt is preparing students for both local and global industries. We're proud to offer robust career education programs alongside traditional academic pathways, ensuring that our graduates are not only well-educated, but well-prepared to enter the workforce. And I just want to say something beyond the academics. At Merritt, we focus on holistic student support, recognizing that our students often face challenges outside of the classroom, but whether it's our food pantry, our mental health services, or efforts to bridge the digital divide, we strive to meet students where they are and help them reach where they want to go. In addition, I want to say this, I see Trustee Gonzalez, you went over there, we continue to push the envelope in terms of sustainability, something that's near and dear to your heart. Our horticulture and environmental management programs are not only equipping students with vital skills, but are also contributing to the preservation and enhancement of our local ecosystems. So in closing, it's important to say, I need to underscore that the success of Merritt College really reflects the support and vision of our Chancellor, Tamil Gilkerson, and you as our Board of Trustees. Your collective leadership is instrumental in guiding our efforts. And I think tonight marks an opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate that partnership, as well as highlight what our faculty, staff, and students have been able to accomplish as a result of your stewardship. The COSER and Administration of Justice programs were chosen to speak to you tonight. And lest anyone think that that choice was random, please know that we're extremely proud of the COSER students. And the safety aides, well, they're our heroes because they help to assuage the very deep-seated concerns that many of us have here at Merritt College about our safety. A recent survey yielded results that affirm a desire to transition in that area. And I know we're going to be hearing a little bit more about that from Director Pridgeon. So with that said, I would like to call up our folks from, I see her, our folks from COSER, Miss Bianca, and our Administration of Justice Programs to share some of their good work. So please welcome Bianca, come on up. And Mildred too, I see Mildred, come on up.
Oh yeah, I need the munchkin level. Thank you.
You good.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? So my name is Bianca Prazo. I am the faculty instructor and department chair for the COSER program. I don't know what happened to the slides. They were there and they will come back. So COSER stands for Community Social Services. And there's a very distinct reason why it's called that. The reason why it's called that is because it began in the community, right? So this program was actually founded in the 80s, and it started in the West Oakland Health Center off of Adelaide. There was different community members that were coming and were getting, sorry, I'm distracted. Let me start over. I get really nervous because this program means so much to me. Like I would not be here today if it wasn't for this program. And so when I get the opportunity to speak about, you know, what it's done for me in the community, it can be really overwhelming. So I apologize. So thank you. As I said, it started off in the community, in the West Oakland Health Center, teaching folks how to become compassionate drug and alcohol counselors. And what ended up happening is, you know, the cohorts started getting so big. And so Professor Newton made the decision to sneak it up to Merritt. And at the time, administration was not aware. But by the time administration found out, there was literally 100 or more students. And so they were like, you know, this is a really good program. Let's keep it. And so that's how we were able to get COSER with Merritt for decades. And when I say it's turned out so many professionals, in all of Alameda County, there's always at least one or more people who are graduates of the COSER program working in community-based organizations, working at the county itself. We're everywhere, right? And so another thing that COSER has done, our population that we work with are non-traditional students. So we work with folks who are formerly incarcerated, people who are recovering from addiction, older students who are also parents. And so we're not just providing an academic program, we're also providing a place for people to build community. What we've seen is that when folks who enter the education system, their rate of recidivism drops, right? So people who come do our program are 43% less likely to recidivate, right? And it's not only just a preventative measure, it's also upward mobility. A lot of the folks that go through this program have also gone on to UC Berkeley, Cal State East Bay, they've gotten their master's. And so, yeah, it's an amazing program. Yeah. So with COSER, as I said, we have a non-traditional student population. And so to meet that need, another professor that was part of COSER, Professor Ron Moss, founded what is formerly known as the Gamble Institute and is now known as the Street Scholars. The Street Scholars program is a peer mentoring student support service for folks who are formerly incarcerated or systems impacted. So we work with folks who have been away, who have been locked down for 20 years, 30 years, 35 years, who just want to start their lives over. And so they're coming into a space and decade where they have no idea how anything works. When they went down, there was no cell phones the way that there are, no computers. Internet wasn't really a thing. And so it's a steep learning curve. And so having the community we have here at Merritt College with the Street Scholars Program enables our non-traditional folks to be able to gain that experience they need to be successful. Sadly, both Dr. Love, who is one of the founders also of this program, and Professor Moss have both passed away. And so I had joined this program in 2022 as faculty. I am also a COSER graduate. I'm also a Merritt College alumni. And so I had gone into the field after graduating COSER and was able to be blessed with the opportunity to come back. Since I've come back, we've continued on our journey of serving folks who are historically marginalized, historically left behind, and under Merritt's support, we've been able to pursue these opportunities to help folks. And one of those opportunities includes the Rising Scholars Program. The Rising Scholars Program provided us with a grant. It's a $1.5 million grant that enables us to provide in-person, face-to-face instruction at juvenile halls, right? And so right now, one of our sister colleges is at the Juvenile Justice Center in Alameda County. We are going to be partnered with Contra Costa County because there was nobody that was able to meet that need. And so rather than have that juvenile hall be unserved, we made the choice to make ourselves available to serve that population. So while our program is focused on substance use disorder counseling, getting folks prepared for the California certification exam, a lot of our students go on to pursue many other careers. It's not just substance use counseling. We have folks who are pursuing careers in case management. We have prevention specialists, medication assisted treatment specialists, housing navigators, community workers, detox specialists, drug court liaisons. We have school-based counselors. So these are folks that are going into the high school setting and providing prevention education for the youth. We even have folks who are working at UCSF as associate social workers, juvenile hall counselors, and mental health navigators. So although our program seems like a niche program, it's actually a really good foundation for a lot of human services work. Our program is on the robust side. We have 4 semesters worth of courses. Each of these courses enable them to be able to have the skills they need to be in the human services field. It also enables them to be prepared for the California Certified Substance Use Disorder exam. Folks can pursue it as a certificate or as an associate's degree. We're really dedicated to working with folks in our community. Again, we really want to serve those who are historically left behind. And so we partner with a lot of different agencies in the community. This includes CORE, Center of Reentry Excellence. They partner with the probation. We work with YEP, Youth Employment Partnership. We also work with underground scholars at UC Berkeley and Project Rebound at Cal State East Bay, because we really want to make sure that our students have the support they need to keep going if that's the direction they want to go in. Aside from that, we have several other partners in the community that we work with. Horizon Services, which provides detox services. They provide prevention services in high schools. La Familia, UCSF, MedMark, Magnolia Women's Recovery Program. That is a residential treatment facility that serves women and pregnant women who are living with addiction issues. We also work with Second Chance, Options, Lifelong Medical Care, and Centerpoint. Our partnership with Centerpoint stretches beyond Alameda County and enables us to reach as far as Marin County. But we don't want to stop there. We want to keep going. We want to keep reaching the folks in our community that normally don't get thought about, talked about, considered. And so the things that we're really focusing on is accessing the potential students that are currently in carceral facilities. We're trying to cultivate relationships with Santa Rita Jail, San Quentin State Prison, Vacaville Medical Facility. We're going to San Quentin this Friday to do a resource fair for the participants who are there. We're also working with RISE program at Chabot. They're currently providing instruction in Santa Rita Jail. And so we're seeking out partnership with them to kind of fill in those gaps that they're not able to meet. We also, me and DPI Cook, she's entertained my radical idea of entertaining the inside out prison model. And basically what that is instead of folks coming out of the jail or out of the prison to go to class, we're bringing the class and the non-incarcerated students into the jail to go to class with those students. And then last, we're also working on more certificates for our program so that folks are able to accomplish that certificate and get towards their career of choice without having to incur like too many units. And so there's a lot of stuff going on at COSER. It's pretty busy, but we love it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mila Rampola. I'm currently majoring in COSER. It is a community social service program that is real vital in aiding individuals get linked to the support and services that they need in order to thrive within these communities where they may be at risk. Thank you for your time and patience.
There's another.
Good afternoon. My name is Al Pierre, and my major is community service, community social service, the COSA program. And what I want the community to know about COSA is that we are a group of people that is taking this course to uplift fallen humanity, people that's in addiction and that's in recovery from addiction, to get a better understanding that there is life after drugs.
Good afternoon. My name is Ruben. I'm in the COSA program, which is Community Social Services. And I want people to know about the program that has given me the tools to become a substance abuse treatment counselor, as well as the opportunity to give back to my community.
So those are our COSER students. They're not here right now because they're actually in class that I'm going to go back to because actually the class is at 6. So they would have been here, but they couldn't make it. So that was them. And I just want to thank you all for your time and your attention. And I want to turn it over to Ms. Mildred.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mildred Oliver, and I am the faculty chair of the Administration of Justice Department here at Merritt College. I am a retired sergeant of police with the Oakland Police Department, born and raised right here in Oakland. The Administration of Justice Department, we pride ourselves in our ability to grow our own students, to grow our own workforce, and that is our goal. We begin with young people as early as 5, working with one of our community partners, the Police Activities League, and we keep students engaged from that young age on into high school in our dual enrollment and on to college and beyond. The young lady who is on the screen right here, Helen Rivas, she was one of our community, oh my goodness, our safety aides, our student safety aides here at Merritt. And she would have been standing here tonight, but she left today to go start her college career at UC Irvine, she's pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Criminology. So she is us. She is what our Administration of Justice program looks like and what our future will be. Now I will turn it over to Margaret Dixon.
Thank you so much, Millie. Welcome everyone to Merritt. Woo-hoo! Although I'm retired from Merritt, I'm back at Merritt. So you never leave this place. You know what? When it's all about students, you never leave. So I'm back now. I also grew up in Oakland. Also was an Oakland police officer, did 25 years there. And then came to Merritt to be a part of this beautiful program right here, something that's really dear to my heart. I want to just take the time, because I'm going to pass it back to Mildred in a little bit, but I want to introduce some students. And it's about the students. It's our safety aides, and I dressed them in gold tonight because they are gold winners, you know what I'm saying? So I want you to see them. They are around the campus. They're the ears and eyes, working along with Marina Security. The three of the students that are here now have the desire to go into public safety. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that later. You'll see some videos. But one of the young ladies told me, I'm bilingual. I think I can be an asset to this department, to this campus, being a safety aide. And when I read her application, I said, you're right. I need you. She's taking AJ classes and she's joining us tonight. But I want to just take the time, I'm gonna allow you guys to speak. But I've took somebody off the streets tonight and I want them to get back to the streets. But I would be remiss, because when you walked into this building, you walked past some pictures on the wall. That young lady is on that wall. That young lady is on that wall. This young lady, when you're talking about grow our own, she was a safety aide like these students, a single mom, growing up in this city, but want to give back. When I tell you she put her heart into those AJ classes, and I'm so proud of her. She was the only female in her academy. And if you know anything about an academy, if you know anything about a police academy, it's tough. I've been through it. But you know what? I have so much pride in the students that lead this campus because we prepare them. It was no doubt in my mind when I heard that she was the only female in that class, she can hold her own. She can hold her own because I know that we prepared her. You will see some slides up there that all the different agencies that we have Merritt students at. Merritt students at. Because I know that when they knock on those doors and they take care of those communities, they are Merritt College students, and I know they're going to do the right thing. Thank you so much. I'm going to allow you to just say a few things about what you got out of this program.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I am Officer Wilson with the Oakland Police Department. I don't have much to say, but what I do want to say is the criminal justice program did prepare me for the streets of Oakland. Obviously not physically, but mentally it did. Being a part of the safety aid program taught me a lot. We dealt with car fires, people having seizures, you know, a lot of things that mentally prepared us. And I want to say thank you to Ms. Dixon. Thank you to Ms. Oliver. Also, Mr. White, may he rest in peace. He was another teacher here that taught when I attended Merritt College. They all a great asset to this campus. And to anyone interested in the Administration of Justice program, I say trust the process. It's well worth it. As Ms. Dixon said, I did it all alone. There were men surrounded around me. I was the only female, but without any doubt, I knew I could do it thanks to the program. So good luck to everyone and thank you.
So on the screen is the pathways to administration of justice or through the program. I am not going to read all of these bullet points, but just understand there are multiple ways that you can go from becoming a student to getting to a career of your dreams, whether it's a certificate of achievement in corrections or a AA in corrections, a certificate or associate of arts in police science, or a certificate of achievement, associate of arts in homeland security. And of course, at the top, we have our associate in science for transfer. Additional pathways to the administration of justice, we have our safety aides who are standing here with us tonight.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? I'm Ariana. I'm here, a student at Merritt College, and I'm a part of the safety aid program. This is my third semester. I started going back to school last year, fall for 23. And I started the safety aid program last semester for spring, and so far so good. It is helping me develop my skills mentally and physically for the real job, I should say. And I want to go graduate after spring to 2025 and transfer to a 4-year, and I want to be CSI. So I hope to go study those classes as well.
These are some of the agencies where we have current students or we have former students currently working. All of them.
I actually got introduced to the program as a junior in high school. I did dual enrollment with Elaine Wallace, Miss Wallace. So she introduced me to criminal justice at Merritt. So she came in, I had no idea about anything criminal justice oriented other than the fact that I have a lot of family in the legal system and I knew that I wanted to do something to be a part of that. I took her class, I fell in love with it. I, for the first time, felt like this is something that I want to do with my life and that I really want to come to school and study this. I had a really hard junior and senior year due to COVID, high school transition, things like that. And Ms. Wallace is the person who emailed me every day telling me, you know, come back to school after you graduate. Like, you got this, you have the knowledge, you just need the help. And she was like, I have faith in my other fellow teachers, Miss Oliver. I took multiple of her classes, some of the best classes I've ever taken in my entire life. More Miss Wallace, Miss Johnson. So I've had great experiences with all Merritt teachers, just overall. I think that the Merritt program especially really helps you get prepared for 4-year universities, HBCUs, things of that sort. Me, myself, I'm going to be transferring to an HBCU next summer. And when I went there and I spoke with some of the staff at these universities, they were very impressed with the things that I knew. They said that it was very ahead of what people coming in as sophomores and juniors usually know. And I give full credit to Ms. Johnson, Ms. Wallace, and Ms. Oliver for having that knowledge. And I think that anybody who wants to learn any type of criminal justice, law, corrections, anything, Merritt is really the place for that. You're going to have a lot of wisdom around you. You're going to be around people with knowledge and experience and people who genuinely want to share what they know and help educate others and these future leaders. And I think that Merritt has set me up for success, and I'm very confident in my ability to move forward with the knowledge that I've learned from these amazing women who have been so privileged to be taught by. I'm going to be going to North Carolina Central that has a connection to Duke. So I'm going to be taking classes at North Carolina Central, which is a historically Black college, as well as taking classes at Duke. So I'll be going back and forth a little bit. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll be studying criminal justice, pre-law focused. And then we'll hopefully from there, after my 2 years, I will, depending on how I'm feeling, we'll either go to law school or do an accelerated master for administration of justice. So that's my plan.
So I believe this is our last slide, but these on the left, these are Administration of Justice Department partners, Oakland Police Department, Oakland PAL, Oakland Office of Violence Prevention, and so on and so forth. In development, we are in the process of developing our modern policing degree. Assembly Bill 89 established a standard for professionalism in law enforcement, moving towards police officers having degrees and greater educational achievements. We are in the process of developing our police dispatcher pre-academy. And that's in response to nationwide and local shortage in dispatchers. Then we have our security guard certificate program. It's a pathway to jobs with the Homeland Security. And then we're going to continue to grow the program and be a hub for individuals who are already in law enforcement and want to build a resume or work towards supervisory roles. And I believe that, yeah, that's the last slide. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Thank you so much for that presentation. We really appreciate it. Are there any questions from the board? Or comments?
First of all, I really want to thank the the faculty and students and staff and administrators at Merritt. This is an amazing community institution, and I know we're just really seeing the tip of the iceberg here. We're just, there's so much depth here, and it's so impressive. And as I was hearing the presentation, especially the last one, I was really struck, not shocked, but struck by the gender imbalance in the police academy. And it got me thinking, well, what are we doing about that? Because it seems to me that the direction of the board and of our community has been to try to address some of the obvious problems in policing in the country. And, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, this board took an action to adopt a very different approach, policy approach to policing. And it struck me that this institution is perfectly situated to kind of respond to that. So here's my question. As you think about the police academy, the AJ program, the safety aid program, how do patriarchy and the structure, the racism in the structure, and what are we doing to lead that way? And I'm just saying, we're going to hire it was really hard because we were asking for things that were called for, but there just weren't that many people out there who really were even qualified to apply what people want to hire. I'm really glad they hired somebody, but it wasn't easy. So my question is, what are we as a community doing in an educational sense to build out that generation of sensitive, thoughtful, smart community safety workers? Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if folks have left, but one thing I think is really compelling about what we're doing at Merritt, to echo your sentiments, trustee, one thing that's really exciting and I think that's really important is to have faculty, to hire faculty. Mildred Oliver is tenure track. We just were fortunate enough to hire her. to have folks, and again, it's not always the be all end all, but I think it is an important element to hire folks who can relate, who look like, who will inspire that next generation that you mentioned. Mildred Oliver, Miss Margaret Dixon, she's at Chabot now, Drennan Lindsay. These are all very accomplished women. And I think that they set the mark and set their examples aspirational. And I would add this too, on a personal note, I am someone who is I'm from Oakland, okay? So I could regale you with stories about interactions with the police in Oakland. And this is, indulge me in speaking colloquially, I was a square. I'm not and I had very negative. One of the things, and perhaps Director Pridgeon would agree with this as well, I think to have a faculty that is diverse, that understands some of the nuances and some of the cultural sensibilities and can avail themselves of that experience when engaging with people in the community. I've often said that at Merritt College, we are trying to teach people how to do it the right way. And I'm very proud of the faculty members that we have across the board, but I think it's particularly compelling when you have people who can bring those experiences to the classroom and prepare our students to leave Merritt College with an understanding and appreciation of how they need to move in the world if they want to make a meaningful impact.
Questions or comments?
You know, one of the things that I will say in response to that, Trustee Gonzalez UN, is I think that hearing what we just heard right now, for me, really validates the fact that they're not just aspirational because they've concretized the evidence. It is clear that you all are doing the amazing work that you're doing. And students that are coming in, women, only woman in the class, and being able to go out there and, you know, go into the police department and also being the only woman in the class. This is the kind of stuff that Merritt is doing, that you all are doing, that exactly is responding to, I think, the concerns of the past and the concerns that have really been filtering the air for such a long period of time. And it's so gratifying to hear that we are doing it here. And they're going out prepared and they're going out supportive. So they're creating the conditions that's making this a very, very different future, I think, on so many levels. So thank you for that question, because I think it's amazing. And thank you all for the work that you do, have done, and will continue to perpetuate, for sure.
So this afternoon, I called the chancellor and I'd gone through the PowerPoint, and I told her I was a little bit disappointed with the presentation. And she said, well, you haven't seen the students. You haven't talked to the faculty. I really didn't know what to expect up here. And I'm happy to say I was grievously wrong about this presentation. Because when we meet the students make the faculty shine. And when the faculty shines, the institution shines. And what we saw this afternoon as a board, it was incredible. And the only thing I can say is it makes my heart soar, because all the possibilities that we dream about in a community college system were on display this afternoon.
I have a question. I was really impressed with the COSER, is that right? The COSER program. I mean, that's changing lives. And having worked with people in recovery in the past, it's really inspiring to hear what is happening here at Merritt. And I wonder if you can talk a bit about, or just give me a sense of the outreach strategies to get people in the door to go through that program.
Like I'm doing all the talking. Well, a couple of things. I would say that we're very fortunate, and I was talking to Trustee Quinlan a little earlier about uh, Bill Love. For those of you who've been around, he was a giant in this district. And the legacy that he built over the 3 or 4 decades that he bolstered that program, we benefited from our own success. And it was kind of a word of mouth. And in that community, folks began to reach out and share with their families and their peer groups about the success or the change, transformation that they had experienced. I'm not going to go totally into a story, partly because I'll get emotional about it. But when you have a legacy of Bill Love, and then you had Ron Moss, for those of you who didn't know him, who shared with me that he had just heard in the community, word of mouth, about this program. And he said he came up here still struggling. And to take someone like Ron Moss to take a chance on this program, and the program taking a chance on him, getting through the program, earning his AA, being able to transfer to UC Berkeley to earn his bachelor's, going on to earn his MSW at UC Berkeley, coming back and becoming a tenured faculty member to replace Bill Love in the program that he said saved his life. Unfortunately, passing away himself and sharing his diagnosis with me the night he got tenure from this board, reaching back with Bianca, and Bianca being at Berkeley and going through that same trajectory. And now Bianca is the tenure track faculty member leading that program. So we can do spotlights and send out literature, but in my view, the power of the program really rests in the people.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Trustee Delphine-Poole.
Thank you. And thank you all for making such a great afternoon for us. And as I've shared before, I was elected in November of 2020. And so I spent the first 2 years of my term on Zoom. And so I am really appreciative of the opportunity to come here and take a tour and to meet all of you in person. So thank you so much for everybody who made that happen. I spent the last year working with the City of Oakland and Councilmember Kevin Jenkins' office, and I heard a lot about the staffing shortages that we have in law enforcement and public safety. And I'm really happy to hear and to see in person the amazing women who are running this program, especially, and folks who are here from the Bay Area. There aren't very many of us. And I'm really happy to see that people who are coming through Merritt, who are from Oakland, who are from this community are doing so well. And I really hope to see more updates in the future, Chancellor, about how this program is doing. I know that there's such a shortage around the Bay Area with regards to law enforcement. And so I would love to hear and to continue to hear more. And then I do have a question just in general. How can we as a board really amplify a lot of this? Because some of this stuff I didn't know about, right? I didn't know that our landscape horticulture program has 100% placement rate. That's amazing. So I want to know how, yeah, which is great. It is a good thing. How do we amplify that? How as a board can we be good ambassadors of that message?
Well, I think the board's leadership in coming out to the colleges and beginning these roadshows, giving the colleges the opportunity to highlight these things. And certainly it's a point of reflection for me as your chancellor, and certainly working with these incredible group of college presidents and the district leadership, is really thinking thoughtfully about like, how do we actually package and provide information, not only for you trustees, right, who have the interest in whatever, but for those students who are coming in our doors who don't know about the programs that we offer, those kind of things, and working with our marketing teams to better package and understand this. So we have a lot more work to do on, you know, a stronger onboarding for all of us, right, to know across the board highlights of the program. So I'll be certainly thinking that through as we move forward.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much, Merritt College, President Johnson, and all the presentation.
Board President. So there was one public comment that was submitted late that I'd like to offer to ask board clerk to announce.
Absolutely.
We have Emmeline Enestroza, the Associated Students of Merritt College President, here to speak.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello. Thank you all for having us. My name is Emmeline, and we are the Associated Students of Merritt College. Now, we are missing a couple of our members up here, but this semester, I just wanted to share a couple things. So I am the president of ASMC, and I wanted to share that ASMC is looking forward to representing the needs of our students and building a community here at Merritt. Our goals this semester are to have motivated and passionate board members, address students' concerns, and increase opportunities for students in any way we can. So once again, I just wanted to share a little bit about what we're working on. I had a report ready, but seeing as this is a public comment, I'm just gonna share a little bit about us and just to introduce us and, you know, so you're familiar with our faces. So once again, I thank you all for having us and look forward to the rest of the semester. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, with that, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, item 1.7, Public Safety Update and Annual Security Report.
Thank you so much, Board President Gonzalez Brito. In community tonight, I'm excited to bring to you a report on public safety in the Peralta Community College District, a look at and an introduction to our new interim executive director of public safety, Abdul Pridgen. But I want to just connect for the board that, again, this report and the work that we're doing is been in your goals for the last several years, and it certainly is one of the goals that you adopted last month at the board meeting, which is board goal 3: support the development and implementation of a district-wide long-term safety and security plan. So I'm pleased to be having worked with Director Pridgen, and I want to shout out Associate Director of Public Safety Amy Marshall as well for the incredible support in getting us to this point, and I'll turn it over now.
Good evening. Board of Trustees, Chancellor Gilkerson, staff, faculty, and students, college presidents, Abdul Pridgen, and it's a pleasure for me to be here this evening. Now, the last time I had an opportunity to speak with you, I didn't have time for a deeper introduction, and if you'll indulge me, I'd like to do that this evening. So I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, and I was the youngest of 3 boys. My mother worked extremely hard to try to provide, but there were days that we went without. And just like any inner city, there were trappings around every corner. And by the grace of God, I avoided those hazards, but my brothers were not as fortunate and spent a fair amount of time in jail and in prison. During my senior year of high school, my mother moved to LA, which meant I had to move as well. And we were 4 of us sharing a 1-bedroom apartment. And at the time, my mother suggested I get a job to help make ends meet. And after about 2 weeks of flipping burgers at McDonald's, I decided there's got to be more to life. And so I left high school. At the age of 17, my mother had to sign a waiver and joined the United States Navy. I was in the Navy for approximately 6 years. I spent 3.5 years living in Japan, and I repaired computers with a top secret SCI clearance. And when I got out of the Navy, I suspected that I would be making a ton of money working for IBM or Hewlett Packard. And it turns out I was working for a small satellite communications company in Dallas, Texas. But now my discretionary funds were not going as far as they did when I was in the Navy because there was such a thing as overhead. So an acquaintance happened to mention that the Fort Worth Police Department was hiring. At no point in my life had I ever considered being a police officer. And I asked how much they were making, and it was considerably more than I was being paid. And I thought to myself, I'm pretty even-keeled. I'm not easy to anger. I think I can do that job. So I joined the Fort Worth Police Department and quickly rose through the ranks, primarily because I'm really competitive and I didn't want anyone from my class to be senior to me. But after a while, as I started to promote, I realized that I had the ability to positively impact those around me. So by extension, they could positively impact people in the community. So that was a real motivator. So I continued to promote, ultimately becoming the first African-American assistant chief in the department's history. And in 2017, I took a leap of faith, or it could be referred to as a leap of love, because my wife at the time was living in California. And so Seaside was having a national search for police chief. And I was one of 51 applicants. And I was blessed to have been appointed as the chief of police in Seaside, California, where I served for about 3.5 years. And then was encouraged to apply to San Leandro, where I served there as police chief. Thank you. Thank you. And I say all that because I think it's important for you to understand a little bit about my background so you'll know what to expect from me as a person and as a leader. I respect and value every human being's intrinsic worth. That is how I interact with them and how I expect those I work with to engage. My entire career, I have embraced a trauma-informed, holistic approach to public safety. When I was in Seaside, I helped create the family and community support practitioner position. So during the height of the George Floyd protests, I heard loud and clear from the community that they wanted someone other than police to respond to calls for service that might involve mental health. So I immediately went back and looked at our budget over the preceding 3 years and saw that there was a lot of overtime money that went unspent. So I decided to have a conversation with the union president, talked about how this position could not only help the department, but the entire city, got their buy-in, had a conversation with the city manager, and so we created the family, community, and support practitioner position. I was part of the hiring process and also helped develop the policy. So now there is a person separate and apart from the police who responds to calls in the community involving people suffering a mental health crisis, domestic violence, substance use disorder, and those experiencing homelessness. I truly come to life around different cultures. So it was not a surprise when I was in Fort Worth, I created the Multicultural Committee. That is where I invited ethnically diverse people from across the city to come to the academy, share their unique insights, perspectives, so that we can include that into our academy curriculum. So it allowed us to have a better cultural understanding of those that we were serving, so we were better prepared to meet their needs. Beyond just improving the curriculum, we actually went out into the community and had classes in ethnically diverse and culturally relevant locations, such as mosques, synagogues, and museums. I truly believe any successful public safety department has to be heavy and strong into collaboration. When I was in Seaside, I created the snack van. So that's an acronym for Seaside Nutrition, Academics, and Athletics for Cops and Kids. It was a partnership between the police department, Natividad Hospital, Cal State University, Monterey Bay, and Grocery Outlet. We surveyed the youth and asked them, what would you like to receive from this van? So not only did they let us know what they wanted, but they designed the artwork and voted on the artwork online, and it looked nothing like a police vehicle. And we drove through the neighborhood handing out free healthy snacks, school supplies, and sports equipment. I wanted them to know that we were interested in far more than just their safety, but also their well-being and quality of life. That's why I was so excited to see your resolution, because it resonates with what I have been doing my entire career. A commitment to inclusivity across race, ethnicity, culture, and socioeconomic backgrounds, addressing structural inequities, eschewing practices of punitive justice and embracing restorative justice, expanding mental health. We have trauma-informed therapy, and increasing the amount of mental health first aid training to our students, staff, and faculty. Culturally responsive strategies, implementing trauma-informed, culturally component strategies, but also viewing safety and wellness through the lens of addressing structural inequities. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to be a member of your team. Your demonstrated leadership aligns with my approach to holistic safety and wellness. Safety and social justice, a community-centric model that recognizes and seeks to remediate systemic inequities. Expanded mental health. We all know that these situations are not criminal in nature, but are manifestations of an unmet need. Resources. Continuing to invest in the infrastructure that supports holistic safety and wellness. So here is our ecosystem today, a holistic safety and wellness program that has most of the pieces in place, but we're operating in silos or bubbles. For example, the behavioral intervention team, their work at their constituent campuses. We need an overarching system to make sure they're connected and integrated. Mental health first aid, we're doing our best to train more and more people, but there's an opportunity to enhance and improve all those that receive the training that can better serve our community. Administration of justice, you've heard from some of them today. There's an opportunity to more fully integrate them into our ecosystem. Marine Security Services, and you're familiar with them, they are our boots on the ground when it comes to public safety. And then finally, public safety, I see it as a conductor working with an ensemble for a cohesive performance. So we are incredibly grateful to Congresswoman Barbara Lee. As a result of her advocacy, we received a federal earmark for our district safety initiative. Back on August 17th, it was my privilege to accompany the chancellor to a community roundtable where we gathered with business owners and also representatives from community-based organizations representing Latinx and African-American community. And ultimately, what we were there to do is share what we were doing individually and collectively to reduce crime, because that was a huge concern, but also mitigate systemic inequities. The chancellor held over 15 listening sessions to gather feedback and input from our community members and stakeholders to understand what their concerns were regarding safety and security. Two of the things that she heard that were thematic were public safety is a top priority and physical safety is an ongoing concern. Building on that, you all are very familiar with our annual security report. It is a requirement that we publish it by October 1st of each year. But for us, this is more than just checking a box. It's our opportunity to demonstrate that we're accountable and that responsible, and also trying to share with our community what we're doing to improve safety at Peralta, providing tips on crime prevention, letting people know how they can make reports. And one of the things that you're already familiar with is the Clery tables or Clery reports, which give you an indication of the crime that's occurred across the campuses and the district for the previous 3 years. And I really want to take an opportunity to thank the board for approving our rave alert system. We are currently integrating that and using it for mass notifications. So in response to what we were hearing from our community, we conducted a safety and security survey. And as you can see, this is a representation of the responses and those that participated in the responses, over 500 responses. 53% were students, 47% staff or employees, almost 68% from racial and ethnic minority groups, and 58% identified as female. When asked overall, how safe do you feel at Peralta campuses and location? Barely 50% said they felt safe. When asked, how safe do you feel traveling to and from Peralta campuses locations? Not even 50% said they feel extremely safe or safe. And this, they were asked their level of agreement. And so the orange bar indicates a response to how confident they feel that Marina is prepared for an emergency. And those that agree and strongly agree is around 32%. And then the blue bar is when asked how they feel about preferring safety personnel as sworn officers, was almost 52% that strongly agree or agree. And this statement, the orange, indicates being asked whether or not Marina enforces the rules equitably. That was less than 50%. And the blue indicates respect for Marina personnel, and that was under 50%. This is in response to being asked what can be done to increase safety at Peralta. And you can see the many responses there. What I can tell you, there was an opportunity for people to write down their remarks, and there were approximately 1,206 of them. I read them and counted them, and my eyes are still crossed. And what I can tell you is those that positively referred to police or armed outnumbered those that negatively responded to police or armed by a ratio of approximately 5.5 to 1. And I'm going to read some of the comments, not all of them, but just a few. Safety aides returned to BCC. Community response members trained in de-escalation instead of security personnel. Bring a full-fledged academy to Merritt and get those students in training to become future officers protecting our students, gaining local and real-world experience. Can we get hybrid safety officers to include both Marina and police officers? I think we need a combination of security depending on the threats. Cops make communities less safe. I strongly oppose cops on campus and deeply appreciate that Peralta has Marina instead. The absence of law enforcement is a mistake. You approved a contract for Knowledge Saves Lives to perform a handful of safety-related tasks. And they concluded that we should be circumspect when considering the challenges presented and their findings which conflict with our decision to discontinue police practices and methods. I had an opportunity to review the board's direction, the results from the chancellor's listening sessions, survey results from over 500 of our community members, the reports from Knowledge Saves Lives, including their feasibility study, my personal conversations with our stakeholders, and my 32 years plus in public safety. And I believe we need a hybrid model that combines sworn and non-sworn to include behavioral intervention specialists that are anchored in community building, holistic wellness, safety and security, and risk management. Our vision for a holistic, comprehensive California post-certified public safety agency is a holistic one. We consider it a community safety model where we work collaboratively with our stakeholders to improve safety at Peralta. What you see inside what I believe is a hexagon, if I'm not mistaken, are the core tenets of the Department of Community Safety. And we would employ a human-centered, tiered response appropriate to the situation. For example, if we get a call of a dysregulated student at Berkeley City College, we're dispatching someone who is trained in de-escalation, not armed, not a badge, no arrest powers, to try to resolve that situation. If it happens that the person realizes that maybe they're suffering a mental health crisis, we dispatch someone trained in behavioral intervention. And if they're unavailable, we can lean on our partners in the community macro. And then we inform the behavioral intervention team so that we're all on the same page and supporting our student. If we get a call of a disruption at the food pantry at Laney because there's a student trying to get lunch but they don't have their ID, we send someone trained in diffusing the situation without a badge, without a gun, without a uniform. And if we learn that the student is food insecure, our first priority is to get the student fed and then connect them with basic needs. If we happen to get a call of a crime in progress at College of Alameda, someone's trying to break into one of the construction trailers, we're going to dispatch a sworn person for investigation and intervention. Technology. So we saw in some of the survey results that our community members are asking us to lean into technology. And for good reason. We're behind the curve when it comes to integrating technology. And right now there's an opportunity because there are smart software out there that we can currently integrate into our camera infrastructure. So now we can determine whether or not someone's just loitering by a fence or they're trying to breach the fence. And then we have an understanding of how we need to address it. Right now, we can't even remotely lock and unlock doors. So if we can leverage technology, it will put us in a position to better utilize our human capital for the tiered response that we need and put them in positions where they can do the most benefit. So there's no doubt in my mind, we can create a holistic, comprehensive model of what community safety looks like that others will not only envy, but want to emulate. There's something to be said about being self-sufficient and having the resources to address all the things that might happen across our campuses. And there are times when you absolutely have to have police. There's no way around it. Will we not want to have people who we have trained, who we have developed professionally, who we can hold accountable? There was an incident that occurred shortly before I got here where an employee parked their car in a parking lot and left their purse in the car. Unfortunately, someone broke the window, took their purse. We discovered the keys to the car were in the purse. So of course, what we did was dispatch our resources to stand guard on that person's car so it would not be stolen. A group came back, including the original perpetrator. Our staff did everything they could. Don't take that car. I know it's not yours. Don't take the car. They got in the car and took it. We were not in a position to do anything. I can tell you in my 32 years of experience, I do not believe that would have happened had we had a sworn person there. So now the trauma that was created in the initial purse being stolen is compounded by their car being stolen. Accepting reports sounds like something just superficial, unimportant. But if this is the first time you've been a victim of a crime, and in most cities now, they're moving to reporting online, impersonal. We can't even take reports from members of our community when it has a law enforcement nexus. And I can tell you, I think it would mean something if we're able to respond and demonstrate some compassion, some empathy, some concern, and maybe direct them to resources. Not everybody knows what to do when things of theirs get stolen. And there's even research that supports that people are more satisfied if they're able to make reports in person. There are a number of post-certified agency benefits. And the one that immediately comes to mind, because we're in this room, is intelligence sharing and gathering. Some weeks ago, we had an event at this location, and we were trying to determine what our safety and security posture should look like to ensure our entire community was safe. I did not have the ability to leverage the resources of the FBI to determine whether or not there was a credible threat being made related to the gathering. That is an incredibly uncomfortable position to be in. Right now, there's an organization called Alameda County Chiefs of Police and Sheriff's Association. They meet every single month with their federal partners to talk about resource sharing, intelligence, best practices, training. I have no visibility into those spaces. And I think that's a detriment to our community safety posture. So we're not asking you to take action tonight. There's a whole lot more to be done. There's going to be a lot of outreach to our community members in addition to what we've done. And we've got to go through the shared governance process. The plan: develop a comprehensive, holistic approach to community safety. Behavioral intervention team. We want to increase the number of teams and also facilitate intervention-specific training to our campus community. And build on the curriculum that marries behavioral health and administration of justice. Technology, I spoke a little bit about technology. We're in a position where we can leverage it to not only improve safety, but also improve the perceptions of safety. Training. There is so much training that people are asking for that we want to provide. So we're going to be partnering with a lot of people for our training. Then resources. That's going to be community driven. The conversations we have with our community to understand what it is that is required for Peralta to create the kind of environment that they feel safe in, that's what will drive those decisions. I understand this is an incredibly weighty and difficult model for some to contemplate. There can be negative connotations associated with an armed person of, community safety member on some of the campuses. I would just ask that you consider these three things. One, police are on our campuses. They've been responding to our campuses over the years. In the time that I have been here, they have responded to our campuses. And with them comes whatever culture exists in their agencies, good, bad, or indifferent. Most fair-minded people will tell you that there is a distinct cultural difference between campus public safety and municipal policing. We want to have agency over the response that our community members receive that is consistent with our values and culture. A culture rooted in respect, equity, belonging, justice, curiosity, and cultural competency. Two, we have a cadre of young, ambitious, energetic change agents matriculating through our course of administration of justice right here at Merritt College. Would we not want to leverage that energy and that enthusiasm in our Department of Community Safety? Would we not want people from our own backyard who fully embrace, appreciate, and embody our culture serving us? Three, I'm going to state the obvious. I'm a Black man with a Black son living in America. I am keenly aware of the role members of public safety have played in marginalizing, discriminating against, and even killing people who look like me, destroying lives and crippling generations in the process. I have labored my entire career to ensure that everyone, especially groups from historically marginalized groups, are treated justly with dignity and respect. And that has often been met with hostility from those I worked with and for. What attracted me to Peralta, aside from our rock star of a chancellor, is your vision of public safety and the realization that my experience, my perspective, and my unique belief in what community safety can and should be are welcomed here. We will continue to build trust in our campus safety community through ongoing and regular engagement, education, and empowerment, increasing their confidence in us in the process. I am ecstatic by the prospect of being in a position to build a community safety model where we can imbue our values and culture every step of the way. I am just eager to get started, and I look forward to our shared success. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Pridgeon. Want to open it up for questions or comments from the board?
Thank you very much for that. I have a question around the earmark that was discussed in the presentation. This might be a question for you, Chancellor Gilkerson. As we know, Barbara Lee is departing the Congress this year. Do we have any sense of that if that money will continue in the next year or the next couple funding cycles? Do we have any sense of if that's going to be replaced?
Thank you for the question. So the federal earmark is a one-time distribution of funds that was designated to us. So we've written a grant plan that's gone to the federal government so they know our plan of action to actually use those dollars to help support the bridging with the Administration of Justice program here at Merritt College and the building out of a really comprehensive community safety program. We have what they say is like about a year to spend the funds. You know, I think there's a little wiggle room. We got the funds later. So but it is a one-time pot of money. But I do think that there are a lot of opportunities around community public safety, the way in which Director Pridgeon and what we're imagining can be possible, right, from actually what we saw tonight. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity in the future as well to move forward to look for funds. And I think to Director Pridgeon's point, also being able to be with Barbara Lee and all of these community stakeholders from Chinatown community, from the Black community, from the Latinx community. It was really powerful to see all of these folks grappling with what is really happening on the ground here. And so one of the things we did talk about was how do we grow our own? How do we build the community model that we want and that they're doing in community-based organizations across here? And so there was a conversation about how do we actually become Peralta, maybe the backbone for some of the funding opportunities to go for grants with our community partners. And the model that Director Pridgeon is talking about could also be that, where these community-based organizations in East Oakland and West Oakland and parts are coming together and actually bridging, and we're an incubator space for it. So it was actually a very exciting conversation to be having with them. And I know it's been seeded by the good leadership here in Oakland.
I have a question, Director Pridgeon. So you mentioned the incident, I think it was at Laney College with the car. Was that Laney? The car that was stolen?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I wonder if you can explain to me how you mentioned that it would have been a different outcome if a sworn officer had been present. Can you walk me through that? What do you imagine or what do you expect would have been different? And how would it be different than a municipal police officer responding to the same situation?
So that's a great question. I'll answer the second part first. I don't even know if we would have gotten a municipal police officer there in the amount of time that it took for us to have Marina stationed there. As many of you are aware, there are resource shortages across the country, including in Oakland, and there are many times we've called and they haven't responded as timely as we'd like. The first part, I've been doing this a really long time. I've never seen someone steal a car in front of a police officer when they're saying, don't take the car. And part of it is an officer can take action that Marina cannot. Marina essentially are like it would be a citizen's arrest. They're not equipped to deal with someone that might be stealing a car, that could have a weapon, that might want to use force. But an officer is trained in a number of different areas. They go through so much training with de-escalation, officer presence. But if necessary, they can escalate it to prevent the car from being stolen. And in my estimation, it would be highly unlikely for a person, if the officer saying, hey, can I talk to you? You know, that's not your car. You know, whatever, I'm taking it. And then the officer can intervene if necessary. We're not in that position right now.
Thank you. Yes, Trustee Gonzalez, Yuan.
It feels like a really balanced and thoughtful way of dealing with the very specific sets of problems that we have here and the broader public safety ecosystem that we're working with, where sometimes you call for resources from your city partners and they just don't show up. So I really appreciate that. I like also the sort of the stepwise model of building it out. And I'm wondering, as you envision, like you see the knowledge saves lives people saying, immediately, we need something immediately. And I see your model is actually not saying we're going to do this immediately. We're actually going to have a process here and we're going to involve people, et cetera, which I think makes, particularly at Peralta, makes sense to just involve a whole lot of people. We may not get agreement or consensus, but when people feel consulted and listened to, gosh, makes a world of difference. So I appreciate that. When you think about timeline for kind of shifting what we're doing to where you envision us to be, what's your timeline? Is this like 6 months? Is this a year? I can't imagine that hiring, training, bringing on board people is something you can do immediately, because probably you don't have people you can bring on that you really want to bring on immediately. And then there are all sorts of budget questions, et cetera. Walk us through what you think the next steps are and what that time frame might be.
Sure, that's a great question. And there are a lot of variables. As you know, we can't go out and say, everybody, we want to hire you today, because there's an extreme shortage of law enforcement, public safety, especially in this area. But what I can tell you, based upon conversations I've had with other people who have been in similar situations where they've had to build a department out, it's usually about 18 months before you start seeing some significant amount of what I would say change. Because there are lots of things that go into it. We've got to be certified through the state of California before we can start employing people. So roughly 18 months.
Yeah, and I would just add on Trustee Gonzalez, Yuan, I mean, part of this is the board would, need to create policies and, so it would be a stair-step approach. So I think the graph that was on the presentation that showed the bubbles that were sort of like, right, we have component parts. So I really want to offer my gratitude to the district community who responded to your resolution and the call to action, right? Made decisions about what we were going to do to stand up safety ambassadors through the support of Marina Security, but then also began doing this mental health first aid through the Holistic Safety and Wellness Advisory Committee, began to really do trainings to think about this stuff. The college vice presidents and the deans of students working on behavioral intervention teams and doing these things. What it is we can begin parts of this now, right? In the sense that bringing a house, bringing sort of this sense like this all comes together and we're working collaboratively to support the district students can begin to happen in stair stages. So the hope tonight is that we, present sort of the beginning of the model, we go out and have these conversations, but then when we begin to build out the plan in the next 6 months, then it will take 18 to 20, about 18 months to begin to think through those pieces. And then we're going to want to keep the community safe while we're doing it, right? So how do we, again, think about our current partner, what that looks like, how do we better utilize the administration of justice and our student ambassador program, which has been universally said by the Holistic Safety and Advisory Committee that they want more of those students on all of our campuses. So looking through those opportunities, we're going to be taking each component part and sort of really assessing how we bring it all together. And so that will begin immediately.
Thank you. And I just want to say that hearing your rounded response, Chancellor, is very reassuring because obviously the key component here that's different is armed officers who are sworn. We've got all these other things in place I mean, like, that's the direction, but we don't actually have them in place. Hearing you talk about the need to actually really fulfill the whole mission and not just say, yeah, we're bringing guns as our response is very reassuring, because I think as we see all of these other alternatives that Director Pridgeon is talking about, and really seeing those being implemented, I think for a lot of people who are concerned about the presence of armed officers on campus, knowing that that's not the first thing and the only thing is going to be a lot more helpful. And I'll just say, for me, it's a lot more reassuring. So thank you.
Trustee Johannes.
So again, thank you. Like everyone else has said, I have two questions. The first one, I'm wondering, because you use the word hybrid in most people's mind can jump to 50-50, but it could also mean 90-10, right? So what, I know it's still preliminary, but what do you mean by hybrid specifically? Or your first thoughts on it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I hope in my presentation today, one of the things that you gleaned is that I'm driven by community feedback and what this district needs. So I can't really make any decisions today on what that looks like. It's based upon the feedback and what safety model we want to create.
Then I'll come back to you with that question. So the second one, so I saw the data that you received, or I should say the graphics of the data. And then you also mentioned there were 1,000+ responses that were written in. Would we be able to see those as well? I teach analytics, so I would love to just take a look and really see what they said and understand the responses to that and graph them, to be honest, so I can really take a look.
Trustee Johannes, I'm happy to get those statistics.
Okay, thank you. And oh, sorry, lastly, go Army, beat Navy. So sorry.
I will echo what's already been stated. That was such a thoughtful presentation. It's been a while, and it's taken a long time for the board to be able to hear where we are on this. You know, we've had chancellors before that have kind of been unable to fully articulate, or through their director, what we were going to do. And I think what you did for many of us, and I know for me personally, is you thought differently about our particular situation. And what I mean by that is that the models that have been presented to us in the past have been binary. It's all or nothing. And what you did, which I think has even reworked my own thinking about the resolution, is that it is holistic and wellness that is emphasized in that resolution. But nowhere in that resolution does it say nothing else, no hybrid model. And so you read it carefully, you brought your experience to the fore as you read it, and you created a model that works, I think, for that responds to the very intent of that resolution, but also responds to the very situation that we are all in several years down from the moment that resolution was created. So thank you for that. We've been very lucky, probably because of COVID, that and the lag in people coming to the campus, that nothing has happened. And so hearing what your potential plan is in terms of how we move forward from this, I think is reassuring to many people, because we have been, I think all of us know that it could have been very different had we had all of our students here, and it just, it just didn't happen. So that's very good. Especially while crime was increasing locally and in the areas around. I do have a couple questions, but the other thing that I want to highlight too, that helped me kind of wrap my mind around this differently, is what you had said in terms of, we have sworn police officers coming to the campus anyhow, and they're going to have a culture, be it good or be it not, that is independent from the campus culture. But if we don't have a relationship with them, you can't leverage how they're going to be on our campus. And I think that there's something to be said about that, because there is a way to change the culture of the sworn officers that come to our campus. And I have to say, I'm very grateful that you are the person who's going to be leveraging that. So, so welcome. And what a great way to kind of introduce yourself to us. So my two questions are, would Marina, within your plan, again, it's preliminary, but within your plan, would Marina still potentially play a part in the ecosystem? And then you also said that Knowledge Saves Lives concluded that we need to move away from our model, but we've been working with them for a couple of years, and that conclusion has never come to us. And I don't know if you know, but has that been within their own kind of ruminations and or written conclusions in the past? And I don't know if you know, so those are just.
So the first is with respect to Marina, and I think I mentioned I am a fan of being in control of our resources. And if we contract with others to perform a function, we're not in control. But again, that decision is not going to be made tonight. And with respect to Knowledge Saves Lives, they provided a feasibility study. And in that feasibility study is where they made that conclusion.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much, Director Pridgen. So that brings us to the end of our meeting. We will now adjourn. Thank you again, Merritt, for hosting us, for the tour earlier today and the great presentations. Really appreciate it.